My first initial reaction to seeing Spray Paint Simulator get added to Xbox Game Pass was excitement. I loved playing Powerwash Simulator, and I had no idea that there was another game within a similar playstyle, so I downloaded it to my Xbox Series X, played it, and even 100%ed it. And my grand takeaway from the game can be summed up in one word: tedious. This is within the top 5 most tedious games I've ever played. I know grinding for levels in an RPG can feel dull and boring, but there was always a sense of accomplishment while doing that in those style of games. Here, in Spray Paint Simulator, before you can get to any of the fun and enjoyment, you need to tape up and cover the aspects of the job that you don't want painted in that specific color. While that 100% makes sense and rightfully should be a part of the task, there was almost no fun in it. The allure of Power Wash Simulator was the immediate satisfaction of starting a level, starting to clean, and getting immediate results. The gameplay loop hooked you right from the very beginning. You can see the driveway or wall or whatever it is start to get clean right away, and then seeing your to-do list get checked off is extremely satisfying. Here, you need to immediately start off with the tedious aspect before getting to the fun gameplay loop. That's a disastrous way to start off a game. Is it my fault for thinking it was going to be just like Power Wash Simulator? Perhaps, but the core concept of the game is the same. Use a spray gun to cover a surface area. One happens to be with water, and the other with paint. In that sense, there's very little different about the two games. But needing to take multiple minutes to tape up the door handles, windshields, and headlights of a car before getting to the core loop of the game and getting to cross things off your to do list is tedious. Now, granted, in the first level, it's not overwhelmingly bad, but as the game goes on and the levels get more intricate, this taping aspect can take up to 15 minutes of trying to find all the right little sections that need to be covered, and that amount of time is far too long. Then you run into the issue of running out of tape and paper, needing to stop, purchase more, lay it on the floor, and pick it up. It just slows down the entire experience. There's repetition in essentially every game ever created, but needing to repeat tasks before any satisfaction is achieved creates an extremely boring experience for the player. But once you get it all set and start to paint, you can get a similar feeling of enjoyment as Power Wash Simulator. Problem is, that similar feeling doesn't last. While playing Power Wash, you can zone out, turn off your brain and relax, spray for 40 minutes uninterrupted, and slowly watch your percentage go up. That does not happen here. Every time you start to get to that feeling, something prevents it. You run out of paint, have to stop and resupply, or you finish with that color and have to remove all the tape you originally put, then tape up other aspects of the same job so that you don't ruin your work with a different color. Imagine playing Power Wash Simulator and after every 3 liters of water used, you needed to stop, go to a menu and refill your water canister, or needed to constantly find new sources of water like ponds or sinks to refill. It would ruin the flow of the gameplay, and that's exactly what happens here. Now, I do feel like I'm honing in on this one point pretty hard, and while it definitely made the game less enjoyable for me, I do understand why they felt like they needed to include it. Covering up the parts you don't want painted is an essential aspect to spray painting, but there needed to be a way for it to be done in a more streamlined fashion to keep the core fun gameplay loop intact. As the levels get more intricate and you need to reach different areas, you're able to purchase different nozzles and attachments. Honestly, I never really felt like they made too much of a difference. I rarely felt like adjusting the attachments was going to give me a better chance at painting the object in a faster or more reliable way. The game also provides the player with the option to purchase different items to reach extreme heights, starting with stepladders and going to scaffolding. These would become essential as the levels became larger and larger. But one item the game provided happened to be the absolute worst vehicle I have ever used in any video game, period. Full stop. The cherry picker was the most frustrating thing imaginable. Trying to navigate this thing was a nightmare. Driving over the slightest pebble felt like it would make the cherry picker topple over, leaving you feeling like the Leaning Tower of Pisa in the most frustrating way. Some levels, using the cherry picker was absolutely necessary, but getting it to the location you needed was beyond aggravating. If the base was in a good spot, there was something stopping you from raising the lift. If the lift was at the right height, the base was touching something on the ground, forcing you to fall over. Honestly, my experience with this thing felt like the developers left it in the game as a prank on the players, knowing it would frustrate them to no end. As for the levels themselves, they were rather standard. Paint a car, paint a kitchen, paint a bus, all things that made sense. until you got to the bridge. Screw this bridge. This one level took far too long. I mean, multiple hours. This bridge nearly made me completely give up on the rest of the game. From needing to paint in all these small crevices which can only be reached from certain areas, to constantly needing to use the cherry picker, which just felt like it made the level even worse, I absolutely never want to play this level ever again. Somehow, this bridge managed to be both extremely frustrating and extremely boring at the same time. Aside from the tedious aspect of the game, the visuals were decent. It definitely felt a little generic, but it worked for the style of gameplay. It didn't require overly realistic visuals or anything of that nature, and the colors were rather bright and vibrant. The game also had a couple of achievements that would be unlocked by exploring the levels. In fact, I found it quite simple to 100%, as while the game was tedious and felt boring, there was nothing complex about the achievements. But once I 100%ed everything, there felt like absolutely no reason to return to the game. Even the free spray mode felt boring and lackluster. While it's possible to paint things in whatever colors you wanted, by the time I was done with the game, I didn't have any desire to spend any more time within the levels. I used the free roam to complete the achievements and move on with my day. So while there can be some replayability within the free spray mode, for the vast majority of the game, there's very little need or want to return. And there we have it, my thoughts on Spray Paint Simulator. While I might have unfairly imposed my own expectations on the game because I assumed it would have the same sense of accomplishment as Powerwash Simulator, the fact is, the game is a more slow and tedious version of that style of game. But even looking at it without the Powerwash lens, Spray Paint Simulator never manages to keep the player hooked into the gameplay. Before there's any prolonged period of gameplay, there's interruptions. Move the ladder, remove the tape, refill your paint. While it all makes sense since those aspects are a part of real spray painting, in terms of gameplay mechanics, they're extremely frustrating. If you're like me and enjoyed Power Wash Simulator, I can understand why you might be thinking of giving it a try, but your enjoyment will most likely be short lived, and waiting for Power Wash Simulator 2 might be the better way to go. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit the thumbs up. It really helps out a lot, and please don't forget to subscribe if you want more video game related videos. Thanks for watching.